Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and greetings to everyone. My name is Muhammad Yusof bin Zulkefli and my co-researcher is Nafisah binti Mat Rabi and we are from University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. Ladies and gentlemen, today on behalf of my team, I would like to share with you guys an interesting research entitled The Perception of the Family Members in the Rural Area of Having ASD Individual Dealing with Social Behavior Difficulties. But before we proceed, I would like to show to you all the VT.
Jangan takut.
Saya tu nampak goyong.
Awak takut apa?
This
Nampak
video is a courtesy
gulung.
of Puan
Ada
Azira Ali.
apalah. Kalau ada gurung, Mama cakap baca apa? A'udzubillah. Minasyaitonirrajim.
Tengok ni.
Janganlah takut. Dah, okey kan? Dah, jangan tutup
Aku
telinga.
dengar lagu. Aku bagi lirik lagu Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Aku nyanyi.
Jangan tutup telinga. No.
Aku takut.
Jangan takut. Awak takut apa?
Gulung.
And this
Amboi,
video
dah
is
pandai serang
taken
orang
from
sekarang
one of
ni.
the Malaysian celebrity, Zarina Zainuddin.
Dah pandai serang orang dah sekarang ni. Ha? Dah pandai pukul-pukul ibu lah. Ha? Dulu pukul diri sendiri je, sekarang dah pandai pukul ibu dah. Ha? Besok bunuh ibu pula. Ha? Kalau ibu tak ada, siapa nak jaga abang? Siapa nak sayang abang? Tisu.
Ladies and gentlemen, based on the video just now, so autism spectrum disorder is not an outlandish jargon for many people nowadays because it is a common thing to be discussed in the public or among parents nowadays, yeah. However, it is not a wonderment if there are people not conscious of it, yeah. So what we have to know that autism spectrum disorder is not a mental problem as other people perceive it, okay? And autism is a complex disorder in terms of social interaction and learning disabilities. So having said so, ASD refers to a range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skill, repetitive behavior, speech, and nonverbal communication, as well as by unique strengths and differences. And this is taken from Autism Speaks 2017, from Norfisha Matrabi 2015, and Baden Qualen 2005. And in terms of socializing and communicating, it can be challenges for many ASD individuals because communication difficulties among ASD are very common. Yeah. So according to Forgo and Webster 2017 stated that ASD individuals are facing speech impact to varying degrees, and they have individuals with ASD who are unable to speak at all, and those who can speak with often use language in a limited or unusual way. So based on that, the problem statement of this research is ASD is always associated with a high frequency of behavior problem, and that is based on Tilton 2014. And some of these behavior problems likely related to the failures and the frustration concomitant with attempts made by individuals with ASD to communicate. So when we do not understand what they are trying to convey the message to us, and the two-way communication is not happening, and sometimes they also do not understand what the message behind our communication. So because of this, there's no two-way communication is happening, and it leads to frustration, and they will show their tantrum. Therefore, the objective of this research is to explore the perceptions of the family members in the rural area of having ASD individual in the family and yet dealing with social behavior difficulties. Why rural area? Because in the urban area, basically, like what we have been discussed earlier, the terms or ASD or autism spectrum disorder is common. But what about those who staying in a rural area? So that's why this research is would like to explore the perception of the family members in the rural area of having ASD individual in the family and yet dealing with social behavior difficulties. As for the literature review, in the Malaysian perspective, the awareness of autism in Malaysia is still new actually, and it keeps increasing. Parents nowadays are looking at these issues as a serious matters. This is because everywhere in Malaysia recently, people keep discussing about autism. And moreover, Bistaman Siru Abdul Rahman, NASOM's chairman, disclosed a statistic by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, United States of America, in the Department of Health and Human Services shows that in 2014, 1 in 68 children were born with autism, and this is keep increasing year by year. And consequently, a ratio of childbirth in Malaysia been made. Looking at the trend birth rate in Malaysia, they are estimated about 9,000 children being born with autism in the country, which is in Malaysia, every year. And the amount of 9,000 children being born with autism derived from the current rate that about 60,000 people being diagnosed with autism recorded in Malaysia. And this is based on Zafira Anwar in 2016. Also, the rate of autistic child being born was 1 to 600. And the statistics is huge and it's worrying figures. And this is due to the increasing in the children diagnosed with autism started in 2014. And as Nafisha 2015 said, autism as a subject touch on the deepest question in the development of brain and mind, and most of the anthropologists agreed that the ultimate of understanding about autism may demand both technical advances and conceptualization beyond anything that the parents now dream of. And however, in the biomedical view, they define autism as cast as an ontologically complex disorder that forces affected person to live in some unimaginable alien world. And this is based on the Autism Spectrum Disorder Health Center 2015. And according to Helker and Yagao, autism is a psychological as a spectrum that encompasses a wide range of behaviors, but whose common features include impact social interaction, impact verbal and non-verbal communication, and restricted and repetitive behavior. Therefore, it is very crucial for us to understand from the bottom billion on how they perceive and how they try to solve or they try to tackle with some of the difficulties if they have an ASD individual in their family. So ladies and gentlemen, the methodology of this research is a qualitative research, and we are using case study as the research design, and this research is using non-probability sampling. And non-probability sampling is defining as a researcher may select a sample based on the subjective judgment from the population. And the sample of this research are 9 informants. We recruited 9 informants, and there are 3 parents, 3 siblings, and 3 grandparents. And the instrumentation of this research is in-depth interview. The location, the rural area in this research is covered Tanjung Malim, Teluk Intan, and Kampar. And this location located in Perak, Malaysia. And since we are in the movement control order, therefore the interview session conducted via Google Meet or Zoom, depending on the availability and convenience of the informant, because we cannot meet face to face. And the interview session took about 45 to 60 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of validity and reliability, to measure the accuracy of this research, a validity and reliability process have been made. Validity and reliability in this research are the extent to which the data is appropriate, justifiable, and relevant. Firstly, researchers, we use descriptive validation which to achieve high accuracy where the transcript notes were sent back to the informants for consensus purposes. And to support this, Maxwell 1992 viewed descriptive validation as the agreement between both researchers and interviewees. Next, we are doing interpretive validity, which reflected researchers' ability to report interviewees' denotation, behavior, or emotion in the response. However, the interpretation process is not only being on the researcher's point of view, but it also reflects the true feeling of the informants such as annoyance, miserable, or amorousness. And this is based on Thomson 2011. Afterwards, the transcription outcome will also be reported back to informants for agreement purposes. If the participants find unsatisfied with the interpretation, so researcher will need to remark and reinterpret until consensus achieved. And lastly is the theoretical validity, where the researcher forms a theory in the studied phenomenon and evaluate it with researcher's own theorized perception. Thus, to validate this, the obtained response, such as concept and pattern, must be fit into the predetermined theory in the phenomenon to create a constructed idea for the theory. Then the researcher will be able to produce data that are aligned and support the predetermined theory. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the finding and discussion for this research, there are three main themes were found. Firstly, responsibility, second, attention, and the last one is puberty. For the first one, responsibility, most of the informants stated that the perceptions of them to have an ASD individual in their family, that is their responsibility to help the children, to help the ASD members. They don't feel any embarrassment, but they always say that that is their responsibility, then they accept this is the fate and this is a task from God to them. And in terms of attention, at first, the siblings, majority of the siblings said that they were lost when their parents always give attention to the siblings or to the brother or sisters who have ASD. However, the feelings of envy is fade away when the parents know how to give their quality time to each of their children. And in other perspective, the grandfather and grandmother also is very helpful, and they also give their hand and empathy to the families who have an ASD individual in their family. They give the moral support. And the last one is the puberty. Most of the informants stated that these are the main thing that they are worried when their ASD individuals in their family in the transition to the puberty, because they are in the state of confusion and many of the challenges behavior might occur. For example, they might be rubbing their private part or scratching their private part in the public, and to the extent there's a one case stated that they are trying to masturbate and it's become the addiction to their ASD individuals in the family. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the conclusion of this research is the lack access to provide basic learning needs to ASD in the rural area makes the whole family worried about the sexual development of their family members with ASD. It is fears that their behavior will be misinterpreted by the surroundings of community and will make the situation more complicated. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, thank you very much. Love, hope, accept, autism awareness.